Day YouTube. This is just a bit of a quick fun comparison between Ubuntu 20.10 on the left and Linux Mint 20.2 on the right. So these are actually both their default desktop environments, you can say. So on the left hand side with Ubuntu, we've got the GNOME desktop environment there, whereas on the right hand side we've got the in-house built, well actually they're both in-house built in a way, the way that they're customized, the Cinnamon desktop environment for Linux Mint. Now one thing to mention is Linux Mint is actually based off Ubuntu, but only the long-term service release of Ubuntu in the back end there. They are both point releases, as the versioning and the names would generally suggest there, but they are different desktop environments. So yeah, we've got the GNOME desktop environment on the left and the Cinnamon desktop environment on the right there. Just works a little bit differently. The one on the right looks a little bit more Windows XP-esque, if you will, so a little bit more basic. Still got the heads-up display, you can search for things just as you can with GNOME on the right-hand side. Yeah, that's pretty much it there. We have some context menus there, nothing to write home about too much. This is where it might tend to stray a little bit, but we've got the file manager here as well. So if we look at this one, we've got the Nemo file manager on the right for Linux Mint and files on the left. These are actually very similar, actually. They just look a bit different the way that they're customized or optimized, or just the way that they're set out and shown with the templates, the color accents, that sort of thing. But hey, they pretty much do the same thing there, so I'll probably leave it at that there for that one. If we get into some of the nitty-gritty specs, let's have a look at the kernel, for instance. So this is where it might get a little bit interesting. This really hurts me to see, but the kernel for Ubuntu is actually 5.13, so not the latest and greatest, but getting darn near close to it. Whereas Linux Mint 20.2 latest release is actually running on an older kernel, because it is running on an older version of Ubuntu. You can actually change this, so it's not actually set in stone, but it is the way that it is built out of the box. So if you want to, say, use later hardware, for instance, be it a graphics card, a CPU, a Wi-Fi, a driver, you're probably better to stick with Ubuntu in that case there. Next up, let's have a look at some of the RAM usage. So nicely idling out, they are very, very similar. So both are really just booted up from scratch. Running at about 700 megabytes of RAM on boot up for Ubuntu, whereas Linux Mint about 650 megabytes RAM. So much of a muchness, nothing to really too much concern yourself if you were selecting on either of the two based on your hardware requirements. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, subscribe, hit that like button, and I do hope to see all of you guys there in the next one. Cheers.